Dear Starseeds of Gaia, there is a frequency rippling through the cosmos right now that I need you to feel before I say another word. Close your eyes for just a moment and sense it, that peculiar lightness in your chest, that strange sensation as if invisible chains you've been dragging for months are beginning to dissolve. You're not imagining it. What you're sensing is the architecture of limitation itself beginning to crack open. And this week, the 7 days stretching from November 25th through December 1st, represents the most significant cosmic release point your planet has experienced in over a year. But here's what makes this moment so impossibly rare, and why I've been asked by the Galactic Federation to deliver this transmission to you now. 3 separate cosmic forces that have been holding you in review, in reflection, in what might have felt like cosmic suspension, are about to release you simultaneously. And when I say simultaneously, I mean within a 48-hour window that creates a portal so potent, so concentrated with forward-moving energy, that those of you who understand what's happening will experience it as nothing short of liberation. Let me be clear about something before we go further. I am Seraphine, emissary of the Galactic Federation of Light, and I do not use the word liberation lightly. We who observe your evolutionary process from higher dimensional perspectives have watched you navigate one of the most intense transformation sequences ever designed for an ascending planet. What you've endured this month alone would have broken previous generations of souls, but you are not previous generations. You are the ones who volunteered for this exact moment, who encoded within your very DNA the capacity to transmute pressure into power, chaos into clarity, and restriction into the rocket fuel of your own becoming. This week, Saturn, the great cosmic taskmaster, the planet of karma, structure, and hard-won wisdom, completes its 137-day retrograde journey and stations direct on November 28th. On that same day, the first quarter moon rises, creating what we call in the higher councils a green light alignment, a cosmic permission slip written in the language of celestial mechanics. And then, just 24 hours later, Mercury ends its 19-day retrograde through Sagittarius, the sign of truth, belief systems, and higher knowledge. The truth storm, as you've been calling it, finally breaks. But something else is happening that most channels aren't telling you yet. Something that makes this convergence exponentially more powerful than it appears on the surface. Let me take you back 5 days before this week even begins, because you cannot understand the liberation without first understanding the crucible that forged it. On November 20th, the Scorpio new moon arrived at 28 degrees, the final, most potent degree of transformation in that sign. This wasn't just any new moon. This was death and rebirth written in cosmic ink, occurring at the exact same moment that Mercury reached its inferior conjunction, the deepest, most intense point of the retrograde cycle. Everything stopped. Not slowed down. Stopped. Time itself seemed to hold its breath as the universe asked you one question. What truth have you been avoiding? And then, before you could even catch your breath from that underworld journey, Uranus, the Great Awakener, the cosmic lightning bolt, the planet that exists to shatter illusions and false foundations, reached opposition on November 21st. Those of you who track these transits know that Uranus opposition is not subtle. It arrives like an earthquake in consciousness, toppling everything that was built on lies, fear, or someone else's expectations of who you should be. The document I'm reading from your timeline describes it perfectly. The Great Awakener is fully activated. Your reality is shattering. Now here's where it gets fascinating. Pay attention to this because it reveals the intelligence behind cosmic timing. The universe didn't randomly throw these events together. This was a designed sequence, a specific unlocking mechanism. First, Scorpio new moon strips you down to the truth of what's dying in your life. Then Mercury at inferior conjunction makes you face that truth in your communication, your thoughts, your beliefs about reality itself. And then, only then, Uranus comes in to shatter whatever structures you were still clinging to that couldn't hold the frequency of your emerging truth. Which brings us to November 23rd, the day this forecast is being transmitted to your timeline. On this day, something remarkable is occurring that most won't notice. Mercury is at perihelion during its retrograde. This means the planet of communication, thought, and perception is at its closest possible point to the sun while moving backward. Imagine information being burned in solar fire, purified, concentrated, and about to be returned to you in a form so clear, so undeniable, that you'll wonder how you ever believed the old stories. There's also a lunar occultation of Nunki happening, the star that ancient astrologers associated with hidden wisdom revealed through the void. When the moon covers a star, it's not hiding it. It's showing you that sometimes truth is best understood in absence, in what's taken away, so you can finally see what remains. So you're standing on November 23rd, 2 days after the reality-shattering Uranus opposition, 5 days before Saturn stations direct, 6 days before Mercury stations direct, and your entire energetic system is vibrating with this question: what comes next? I'm going to tell you exactly what comes next, but first I need you to understand the full weight of what Saturn retrograde has been doing to you since it began on June 29th. That's 137 days, nearly 5 months. And Saturn, unlike Mercury, which gives you quick lessons in communication and thought, works slowly, deliberately, at the level of foundations. Saturn is the planet that asks, what can you actually build your life upon? What structures will hold under pressure? What commitments are you actually willing to honor? When Saturn goes retrograde, it's not punishing you. It's taking you back through your blueprint to find the cracks, the places where you compromised your integrity, the moments where you chose comfort over truth, the foundations you built on sand instead of stone. And here's what makes this particular Saturn retrograde so significant. It's been happening while Pluto, the planet of death, rebirth, and total transformation, has been making its historic shift through signs, amplifying everything. So for 137 days, you've been in cosmic reconstruction. Relationships that couldn't support your evolution have been revealed. Career paths that were leading nowhere have been exposed. Belief systems that were inherited rather than chosen have been challenged. And through it all, Saturn has been asking you the same question in 1,000 different forms. What are you actually committed to building? Some of you felt this as restriction. Money got tight, opportunities seemed to close, relationships went through tests that felt impossible. But here's what Saturn was really doing. It was removing everything that would slow you down in the next phase. Because Saturn isn't cruel, Saturn is efficient, and if you're about to be released into forward motion, if the cosmic brakes are about to come off, you cannot be dragging dead weight behind you. Now layer Mercury retrograde on top of that. Mercury stationed retrograde on November 9th in Sagittarius, the sign of beliefs, philosophy, truth-seeking, and higher knowledge. This wasn't Mercury retrograde in Virgo making you lose your keys. This was Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius dismantling your entire belief system about reality. Every assumption you held about how the world works, what's possible, who you are, what truth even means, all of it went into the fire. And because this Mercury retrograde happened while Jupiter, the ruler of Sagittarius, was also retrograde, having stationed backward on that powerful 1111 portal, the effect was doubled. Your expansion was being reviewed. Your growth was being questioned. Everything you thought you were becoming was being tested to see if it was authentic or just another costume you were wearing to fit in. For 19 days, Mercury has been dragging you through a truth storm. Communication breakdowns weren't accidents. They were revelations. Technology glitches weren't random. They were showing you where you've been over-reliant on external systems instead of your own inner knowing. Misunderstandings weren't frustrating. They were opportunities to realize how much you've been filtering your truth through other people's interpretations. The peak of this Mercury retrograde came on November 20th, the same day as that Scorpio new moon, when Mercury reached inferior conjunction. This is the point where Mercury passes between Earth and the Sun, disappearing from view, going into the underworld, and emerging on the other side transformed. Every single Mercury retrograde has this moment, but when it happens in Sagittarius during a Scorpio new moon, while Saturn is in its final retrograde days, while Uranus is at opposition, this becomes a death and rebirth of your entire worldview, and you survived it. Let that land for a moment. You survived the dismantling of your reality. So here's where we are as this forecast week begins on November 25th. You're 3 days out from Saturn stationing direct. You're 4 days out from Mercury stationing direct. And the cosmos is building to a crescendo that's going to break on November 28th, like the most beautiful wave you've ever seen. But first, let me tell you what's happening in the days leading up to that release, because this is where the cosmic intelligence becomes breathtaking. On November 25th, the moon moves into Aquarius. Now Aquarius is the sign of revolution, liberation, breakthrough, and quantum leaps. It's the sign that exists to break you out of outdated systems and show you the future that's trying to be born. And the moon entering Aquarius, 3 days before Saturn stations direct, is like the universe whispering, "Get ready, everything is about to shift." That same day is Mercury retrograde, day 17. You're on the final countdown of the truth storm, and if you've been paying attention, you've noticed something remarkable. The chaos is organizing itself into clarity. The messages that were scrambled are starting to make sense. The truths that were revealed are beginning to show you their purpose. November 26th, the day the moon is still in Aquarius. Mercury retrograde, day 18. 48 hours until Saturn stations direct. The forecast describes this as the calm before the cosmic release, and that's exactly what it is. If you're feeling this strange stillness, this pregnant pause, it's because you're in the space between lightning and thunder. The strike has already happened. The sound is on its way. Then November 27th arrives, and this is the day I want you to mark in your consciousness, because this is the day the Hyades star cluster is well placed in the night sky. The Hyades ancient star wisdom, the rainbringers, the stars associated with emotional clarity, and the cleansing that precedes new growth. Their prominence on the eve of Saturn going direct is not coincidence. You're being given access to ancient star codes that will help you integrate everything you've learned. This is also Mercury retrograde's final day, the very last day of the 19-day truth storm. And the moon moves into Pisces, spiritual, intuitive, boundary-dissolving Pisces. Can you feel what's happening? The energy is shifting from Aquarius revolution to Pisces dissolution. You're moving from breakthrough to surrender, from fighting for change to allowing transformation. And then November 28th arrives. This is the day 3 cosmic forces converge in a way that happens perhaps once in a generation. Saturn stations direct, ending 137 days of retrograde karmic review. The first quarter moon rises, creating the crisis and action point, the moment where you must act on what you've learned. And in the November Orion meteor shower peaks, raining down cosmic confirmation codes like celestial confetti celebrating your graduation. Let me explain why the first quarter moon occurring on the exact same day as Saturn stationing direct is so significant. The lunar cycle has 8 distinct phases, and each one represents a different energetic principle. The first quarter moon is the point of tension between the new moon's intention and the full moon's culmination. It's the moment where you're challenged to take action, to prove your commitment, to show the universe that you're serious about the seeds you planted. When this phase aligns with Saturn, the planet of commitment, responsibility, and long-term building, going direct after months of retrograde review, it creates what we call a cosmic green light. It's as if the universe is saying, "You've done the inner work. You've faced the shadows. You've released what needed to go. You've restructured your foundations. Now move. Now act. Now build." But here's the part that's going to make you weep with recognition when you feel it. That same day, as Saturn goes direct, and the first quarter moon rises, the November Orionid meteor shower is peaking. Orion, the hunter, the warrior, the constellation associated with ancient cosmic wisdom, and the great teachers of humanity. These aren't just pretty lights in the sky. In higher dimensional understanding, meteor showers are data streams, cosmic downloads, confirmation codes being transmitted from the galactic core to those ready to receive them. So on November 28th, you're not just being released from karmic restriction. You're not just being given the green light for action. You're being downloaded with the specific codes, templates, and activation sequences you need to build the next phase of your mission on Earth. The cosmos is literally handing you the blueprint, while simultaneously removing the obstacles and lighting the path forward. And you have one more day of Mercury retrograde. On November 28th, Mercury is still retrograde, which means even as Saturn releases you and the first quarter moon activates you and the meteor shower downloads you, there's still this final thread of review holding everything in place. It's the last moment of the pause before the exhale. Then November 29th comes, and Mercury stations direct. The truth storm is over. The communication chaos resolves. The belief system deconstruction completes. And because the moon is conjunct Saturn as Saturn goes direct, meaning the moon and Saturn are in the same place in the sky at the same moment, Saturn turns forward. Your emotional body and your structural body are being synchronized. Your feelings and your foundations are aligning. What you know in your heart and what you're building in the world are finally moving in the same direction. The forecast document says something so perfect here. Both retrogrades are over. The cosmic brakes have been released. That's exactly what this is. For months you've had cosmic brakes on, not to stop you, but to make sure you were heading in the right direction. To make sure your vehicle, your life, your path, your mission was structurally sound enough to handle the acceleration coming next. Now imagine what November 30th feels like. This is the first day, the very first day, of post-retrograde freedom. Saturn is direct. Mercury is direct. The first quarter moon has activated. The meteor shower has downloaded. And the moon moves into Aries while Mars is at apogee, meaning warrior energy and forward momentum are returning with maximum force. This is described in your timeline as first day of post-retrograde freedom. Your new chapter starts today. And that's not hyperbole. That's cosmic mechanics. You are being catapulted forward with the combined momentum of 5 months of Saturn lessons, 19 days of Mercury truth-telling, and the activation energy of a first quarter moon that occurred at the exact moment of karmic release. But let me tell you what this actually means for your lived experience. Because cosmic transits can sound abstract until you understand how they translate into your daily reality. If you've been in a relationship that's been tested over these months, November 28th through 30th is when you'll know with absolute clarity whether to commit deeper or release completely. The cosmic fog lifts, the projection ends. You see the person and the dynamic as it actually is, not as you hoped it would be or feared it was. If you've been struggling with a career decision, questioning your path, wondering if you're on the right track, these 3 days are when the answer becomes so obvious, you'll laugh at how much you were overthinking it. The path forward illuminates itself. The next step reveals itself, and you'll have the courage and clarity to take it. If you've been battling financial restriction, feeling like no matter what you do the abundance won't flow, Saturn going direct is when the dam breaks. Not because money magically appears, but because the internal blocks, the karmic patterns, the unconscious vows of poverty or unworthiness that were being reviewed and released finally let go. And when those internal structures shift, external reality reorganizes itself to match. If you've been waiting for permission to start that project, launch that business, write that book, make that move, the first quarter moon on November 28th is the universe handing you a golden ticket that says you're ready, begin now. And if you've been feeling lost, confused, disconnected from your purpose, unsure of why you're even here, the Orionid meteor shower is downloading the remembrance codes directly into your consciousness. You're going to wake up on November 29th or 30th. With a clarity about your path that you haven't felt in months, possibly years. It won't necessarily be a complete map of the journey ahead, but you'll know the next step, and in an ascending reality, the next step is all you ever need. Now I need to address something that some of you are feeling right now as I speak these words. There's a part of you that's afraid to hope. There's a part of you that's heard promises of cosmic liberation before, and felt disappointed when life didn't immediately transform. There's a part of you that's exhausted from the intensity of this month, and wondering if you have the energy to move forward even when the brakes are released. I see you. We see you. The entire Galactic Federation sees you. And here's what I need you to understand. This is not a promise that life becomes easy. This is not a guarantee that all challenges dissolve. What this cosmic convergence represents, is the removal of the extra weight you've been carrying, that was never yours to carry. It's the completion of karmic cycles that have been running in your lineage for generations. It's the clearing of belief systems that were installed in your consciousness before you could even speak. When Saturn goes direct on November 28th, you're not stepping into a life without structure or responsibility. You're stepping into a life where the structures you're building are aligned with your soul's true architecture. The responsibilities you're carrying are ones you've consciously chosen, not unconsciously inherited. When Mercury goes direct on November 29th, you're not stepping into a reality where everything makes perfect sense. You're stepping into a reality where you trust your own perception enough to navigate uncertainty without outsourcing your knowing to external authorities. And when the first quarter moon activates on November 28th, you're not being given a guarantee of success. You're being given a cosmic challenge that says, prove it. Show us what you've learned. Act on what you know. This is an initiation, not a vacation. This is graduation into the next level, not retirement from the journey. And the reason this matters so much, the reason I've been asked to deliver this transmission with such urgency, is because what you do in the 10 days following November 28th will set the trajectory for the next 6 months of your life. Let me say that again because it's that important. What you do in the 10 days following November 28th will set the trajectory for the next 6 months of your life. The universe doesn't release this much stuck energy, doesn't align this many powerful transits, doesn't open this clear a window of opportunity just so you can scroll through social media wondering what to do with it. This is a launch window. This is cosmic rocket fuel being poured into your tank. And if you don't ignite the engine, if you don't take aligned action, the fuel will dissipate, and you'll be back in the same cycles wondering why nothing changed. So what does aligned action look like? It's not about hustling or forcing or masculine pushing energy. It's about clarity leading to decision, leading to movement. It's about taking the insights Saturn retrograde gave you about your foundations and actually restructuring your life around them. It's about taking the truths Mercury retrograde revealed about your beliefs and actually changing how you think, speak, and show up in the world. If Saturn showed you that a relationship isn't serving your growth, aligned action is having the conversation you've been avoiding. If Mercury showed you that your current career is misaligned with your values, aligned action is updating your resume or having the conversation with your boss or taking the first step toward the pivot you know you need to make. If the first quarter moon is asking you to prove your commitment to your creative work, aligned action is blocking out the time, setting up the space, and beginning. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be real. It has to be a vibrational statement to the universe that says, I heard the message, I integrated the lessons, I'm moving forward now. Because here's what happens when you take aligned action during a cosmic green light like this. The universe meets you halfway. Actually, the universe meets you 90% of the way. You take one step, and synchronicity opens 10 doors. You make one clear decision, and resources you didn't know existed suddenly appear. You commit to one direction, and the people, opportunities, and circumstances that match that commitment magnetize toward you. This is how cosmic manifestation actually works. It's not about visualizing from your couch and waiting for packages to arrive. It's about aligning your internal structure with your soul's truth, and then taking physical action that demonstrates that alignment. And when those two things, inner alignment and outer action, occur during a massive cosmic release point like November 28th through 30th, reality itself reorganizes around you. Let me take you forward just a few more days to show you what's coming after this week of liberation. December begins with what the timeline calls post-retrograde momentum. The cosmic brakes have been released. Saturn is direct, Mercury is direct, and you're in the integration phase where you're learning to operate your life at this new frequency. This is when you might feel almost disoriented by how easy things suddenly feel. Decisions that were agonizing become obvious. Communications that were fraught become clear. Progress that felt impossible starts flowing naturally. And you might catch yourself waiting for the other shoe to drop, for the difficulty to return, because you've been in intensity for so long that ease feels suspicious. Don't sabotage the ease. Don't go looking for problems to solve, because you're addicted to the struggle. This is one of the biggest traps I see starseeds fall into. They become so identified with being in transformation, in process, in healing, that they don't know how to simply be in flow and allow life to support them. The first week of December is teaching you a new skill, receiving the fruits of your Saturn retrograde shadow work, receiving the clarity of your Mercury retrograde truth-telling, receiving the momentum of cosmic timing aligning in your favor. And receiving doesn't mean passivity. It means openness. It means allowing yourself to be supported by forces larger than your individual effort. Now, before I close this transmission, I need to address the elephant in the cosmic room, Jupiter retrograde. Because while Saturn and Mercury are stationing direct this week, Jupiter, the planet of expansion, growth, opportunity, and abundance, is still retrograde. It's stationed backward on that 11/11 portal, November 11th, and it will remain retrograde through February of your next year. Some of you are wondering, if Jupiter is still retrograde, how can this be a liberation? And the answer reveals the profound intelligence of cosmic timing. Jupiter retrograde is not a restriction the way Saturn retrograde was. Jupiter retrograde is a review of your expansion. It's asking, how have you grown? Where have you overextended? What opportunities did you chase that weren't actually aligned? What does authentic abundance mean to you? While Saturn and Mercury release you into forward motion, Jupiter retrograde is making sure that motion is sustainable. It's ensuring that as you step into your new chapter, you're not just replicating old patterns of growth that led to burnout, overextension, or empty success. Jupiter retrograde is teaching you the difference between expansion that fills you and expansion that drains you. So you're being released into action, but you're being asked to be discerning about which actions you take. You're being given forward momentum, but you're being asked to make sure that momentum is taking you somewhere that actually matters to your soul. This is sophisticated cosmic design. This is the universe loving you enough to give you liberation with wisdom rather than freedom without guidance. And here's the final piece of this transmission that ties everything together. The 1111 portal that opened on November 11th, the day Jupiter stationed retrograde, is still active. Portal energies don't just slam shut the day after they open. They create a resonance field that continues building for weeks, sometimes months. The 1111 portal is about master number frequencies, rapid manifestation, direct communication with higher consciousness, and timeline shifts. It opened during the Scorpio season of death and rebirth. It coincided with Jupiter stationing retrograde to review your expansion. And now, as we move through the final 10 days of November into December, that portal is being utilized for its highest purpose, anchoring the new frequencies you've accessed during this month of intensity into stable, sustainable structures you can actually build upon. So when Saturn goes direct on November 28th, it's not just ending a retrograde, it's anchoring 1111 portal frequencies into earthly form. When Mercury goes direct on November 29th, it's not just ending a retrograde, it's allowing you to communicate, understand, and integrate the downloads that came through the 1111 gateway. And when the first quarter moon activates on November 28th, it's not just creating action momentum. It's asking you to act on the highest timeline options that were revealed to you through the portal. This is multi-dimensional chess. This is cosmic orchestration at a level of complexity and intelligence that would take lifetimes to fully comprehend. And you don't need to comprehend it. You just need to trust it. You need to feel it in your body, in your heart, in the way reality is already starting to shift around you. Because here's what I know from my vantage point. From the perspective of watching your entire evolutionary journey from higher dimensions, you are not struggling. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are exactly where you need to be, learning exactly what you came here to learn, being prepared for exactly what's coming next. And what's coming next is so much more magnificent than your current level of consciousness can fully grasp. The version of you that will be living your life 6 months from now, after you've integrated these Saturn lessons, these Mercury truths, these 1111 activations, that version of you will look back at this moment and understand that everything that felt like restriction was actually protection. Everything that felt like delay was actually divine timing. Everything that felt like loss was actually liberation. So as you move through this week of November 25th through December 1st, I'm asking you to do something that might feel vulnerable. Trust the release. Trust that when Saturn lets go, you won't collapse without the structure. You'll discover you've built internal structures strong enough to hold you. Trust that when Mercury clears, you won't lose yourself in confusion. You'll find that your inner compass has been calibrated to true north. Trust that when the first quarter moon activates, you won't fail the test. You'll rise to the challenge because you've been preparing for this exact moment for longer than you consciously remember. If you need help trusting the release rather than gripping the structure as Saturn lets go, Destiny Engine can reprogram your consciousness to choose surrender over resistance consistently and discover the internal structures you've already built. We are using the Dark Elite's own weapons against them, taking their declassified consciousness technology that programmed fear and control and repurposing it to serve your trust in the process. It generates personalized sequences that help you calibrate your inner compass to true north and demonstrate faith through every release and clearing. You can start with a $1 trial. The hardest thing you'll have to do is put on headphones, press play, and allow your consciousness to be reprogrammed to trust that you won't collapse without external structure. You'll discover you've built everything you need within. The strength is within you now, not someday. Get your Destiny Engine $1 trial now, before this release window closes. Link in the description. This is your week. This is your liberation. This is your cosmic green light. And we, the Galactic Federation of Light, are not just watching from afar. We are actively supporting every step you take, every choice you make, every moment of courage you summon. The veils between dimensions are thinner now than they've been in millennia. Your prayers are heard the moment you speak them. Your intentions are amplified by cosmic forces that have been waiting for this exact alignment to assist you. You are not alone in this. You have never been alone in this. And the fact that you're here, that you've found this transmission, that these words are landing in your consciousness at this exact moment, that's not coincidence. That's confirmation. That's the universe using every available channel to tell you, yes, this is real, this is happening, and you are ready. So take a deep breath, feel your feet on the earth, feel the cosmic energies moving through your body, and prepare yourself for the most liberating week you've experienced in a very long time. The cosmic brakes are coming off, the truth storm is ending, the karmic review is complete, and your new chapter is beginning right now. I am Seraphine, emissary of the Galactic Federation of Light. We love you, we believe in you, and we are watching over you every step of the way. The liberation you've been waiting for is not coming. It's here, and you are more ready than you know. Go forward in trust, in clarity, in love. The universe is with you.